All right. Welcome back, everyone. After a brief bye week on my part, I'm back, ready to give some Recruited League recap. So, without further ado, we got a lot to cover. I'm gonna do some quick game recaps and give an overall playoff picture. Despite a stirring performance from one Jeffrey Richard Whipple Crimmin, Gomez gets a big win, puts himself in good position for the playoffs in defeating the Crimmin man. Gomez led by the usual suspects, Peyton Manning, Adrian Peterson, and Mr. Rob Gronkowski, who upon hearing that Gomez is Spanish said, "No, yo soy siempre fiesta. Nunca para you." All right, what may be the game of the season so far? The Worm vanquishes Shenzhen, and along with it his playoff chances in a very high-scoring affair. Before moving into more analysis of this game, I'd like to take a belated eating of crow for my loss to the Worm after all my public talk here a couple weeks ago. I've now played well against the guy this season, and hope I can get a chance to redeem myself. But that's last week's news. Right now, we got to look a little more closely into this matchup. Shenzhen losing despite the monster game from Eric Decker with 4 touchdowns, one of the biggest performances by a wide receiver this year. And he had a few big games also from Russell Wilson with that dominant Monday night showing against the Saints. Dr. J sometimes see. Shank got hurt a little bit from Jordan Reed, who laid a goose egg. I could have told him that may have been a risky move. Mr. Reed was on my team before. He suffered a concussion a couple weeks ago. That's maybe why he didn't have any points this week. It's a strong overall showing by the evil Lord Worm. Just a pretty stellar group of wide receivers he has there. Josh Gordon had a monster game. He's only a few hundred yards behind Calvin Johnson for the overall receiving yardage lead this year, which is pretty impressive considering the season Megatron is having. Another big game got out of Alshon Jeffrey, who's had pretty amazing chemistry with Luke McCown, but you wonder if that'll continue when Jay Cutler comes back, when and if he does. I think it probably will. You know, Jeffrey is a pretty great player, and a lot of people were thinking he was going to break out this year anyways, but still, you never know about the particulars that can often happen between a quarterback and his receivers. And Worm also getting a nice game out of C.J. Spiller, who rushed for $150 and a touchdown, which I'm sure he's happy to see heading into the playoffs. All right, our next matchup, we have McCoy winning a critical game against the mysterious Josh's team. McCoy needed to win this game to force a one-game playoff with yours truly for the right to play in the playoffs. McCoy may have the next best group of wide receivers in this league with Andre Johnson, Anquan Bolden, Deshaun Jackson, and A.J. Green. A.J. Green is in his flex position, actually. So pretty impressive group of guys there, although McCoy benefited a little bit from having his kicker score 19 points. I don't know if he can rely on that on a weekly basis, but you never know. He also had a goose egg from Joseph Fourier, so that could be a little bit of a concern for him as well heading into the playoffs. But he has to like Matt Ryan getting the win on the road, and he's stranger things have happened. He could definitely sneak into the playoffs. I also like the recap that Yahoo gives. The headline says, Ocho Cinco's puts the kibosh on Josh's team. Grabs 5th place. Pretty sure whatever kibosh there was put on Josh's team a long time ago. in maybe the second game of the week, or some people may argue it's the game of the week, Bikini vanquishing Brenna, putting an end to any chance that the playoffs will be nothing but a sausage fest. So Kyle's Italian sausage, make sure there's a sausage fest for everyone. Thank you, Kyle. But moving on to the analysis of this game, I want to take a moment to talk a bit about Jamal Charles. I always like watching the guy play. I think he's been one of the best backs this year. And, a little brief statistical gander says that I'm right. He is the top running back overall in fantasy this year, third overall player behind only Drew Brees and Peyton Manning. And also kind of a strange fact I uncovered during my quick check of the rankings. Mr. Matthew Stafford is actually the fourth most valuable player, but he resides in the abyss that is Crimin's team this year. So Jamal Charles also becomes the first Chiefs player to have 1,000 yards rushing in 4 seasons. So I salute you, Mr. Charles. And I salute you, Bikini, getting Brenna out of the playoffs and out of our minds. All right, since this is a game with absolutely no playoff implications, I'm going to instead show you this beautiful picture of Webby and I. Met up with the one they call the Websville Festival a couple weeks ago in New York. Had a great time together, a couple drinks, shared a few laughs. And, man, she got on fine despite one person, who shall not be named, who didn't come out to see us because he was playing video games. Unbelievable. And on another note, I'd like to thank PB for being the only one to reciprocate my Happy Thanksgiving. Seems like he may be the only real American in this entire group. I will save you from any further analysis of this game because Midgers Nitchers is very deep in last place. And I do not want to give any secrets away to my potential rivals. That means you, McCoy. That means everyone else who I might play in the playoffs. So, yeah, I'm pulling the Belichick. And hope to meet up with any of the teams in the playoffs very soon. All right, with last week in the books, the playoff picture is cleared up a little bit. Worm and Bikini have clinched playoff spots, so they'll be 1 and 2 depending on the outcomes of this week's games. Gomez positions himself well. He has third most points in the league, so even if he loses, he'll probably get the tiebreaker. So he's pretty much in. The only way he doesn't is if he loses, and either I lose and outscore him by 30, or Shensa wins and outscores him by 70. So still possible. The fat lady hasn't sung yet, but pretty unlikely. And then the other big matchup for this week is Old Man McCoy versus myself. It's pretty much a play-in game, so it's taking a little bit of the baseball wild card and putting it in the Recrewted league. So should be high stakes, some fun, hopefully, and we'll see what happens. But I gotta say, I'm a little nervous. Maybe all these old man jokes will finally bite me in the ass, like that time McCoy was in the Acropolis and got hit by lightning in the ass when he cursed Zeus for picking Thropulos Sukapula Aluska in the first Olympiad. Now it's time for a little grind my gear. This week, actually something that makes me a little sad. Last week came word that the Walkmen would be taking an extreme hiatus, which pretty much means they're breaking up. Walkmen, one of my favorite bands, and world's not going to sound as good without them. So farewell, Walkmen. And if you haven't listened to them, I highly recommend checking all their stuff out. Adios, amigos.
lost in Boston, drinking rum and chocolate. 100,000 blinking lights are making me exhausted.